Hello, everybody. Been a while. It's been basically a year. We lost All Engines Go, gained classic toys, lost the classic toys, and now we're getting a whole new line. Crazy times. Hi guys, I'm Flying Scotsman 4472 back again with another video. And today's video is a review of the, well, I guess not very new anymore, 2025 Push Along or Metal Collection Thomas, and the 2026 Metal Collection Diesel. Let's get into it. So these are a part of the Metal Collection line released during the 80th anniversary, and I guess these are a holdover until they can release the new line in 2026, which we have already gotten pictures of, which, if you want my opinions of, I might do a video. Let me know in the comments. I have some maybe unpopular opinions about it, but yeah. Either way, I wanted to take a look at these two items that I got pretty recently, as these, I found them on shelves, and I haven't seen a lot of the single packs, so I really wanted to get them. I have a plan to get the set of like all the main 2025 engines, the one that comes with Annie and Clarabelle, so I just got Thomas. But I saw Diesel that they had there as the only 2026 model, and I really wanted the 2026 Diesel because I actually don't have the original 2019 Diesel, and I kind of collect the old push-alongs, so I thought this might be a good substitution. So yeah, let's get into it. So first, let's look at Thomas. So this is packaging. I mean, you can kind of look at it for both of them. They both have the same packaging. No 80th anniversary logo. I don't know if these ever had the 80th anniversary logo, but it's just, you know, picture of them up in the top right, Metal Collection, Thomas logo, and then on the back is just some legal stuff. Same thing for Diesel. Diesel's only difference, he has his face up there, except unlike Thomas, who you can see at least some of his body, Diesel is literally just his face. Metal Collection along the side, and then Thomas and Friends and Diesel, and then you get nice visuals of both of them. So, good packaging. I've always liked this packaging, so let's get them open and see what they're like. Alrighty, so I've repositioned the camera just a bit, so that way I can get a slightly better look at them, but here is Metal Collection 2025 Thomas and 2026 Diesel. So let's start with Thomas. He looks fantastic, actually. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit. This might be an unpopular opinion, but this is maybe the best die-cast Thomas we've ever gotten. I was never a die-cast kid. I mainly collected Wooden Railway. However, I have seen pictures and videos and tons of stuff about all of the die-cast Thomases, and from at least the pictures I've seen, this is just as good, if not better, than the old Ertl Thomas, especially in the upper body department. The lower body, it still looks a little wide, especially with the coupling rods, but first off, we've got coupling rods, which we haven't had since Ertl, if I remember correctly, in the die-cast line. And it looks really good. That's a fantastic Thomas face. I mean, Mattel's always been great with the faces, so I'm glad that the face still looks good. His blue is really nice. I like the shade of blue that they chose. He's got that rivet detailing, which all the new models have. I haven't released the review of this Thomas yet because I filmed it a long time ago, but it has the same type rivet detail, which we all thought meant something about the new series, but now we're seeing that it doesn't. But yeah, and then it's got these new wheels. These kind of, they're basically the All Engines Go wheels. Here, let me pull up an All Engines Go engine. Here's the All Engines Go Diesel. They're basically the All Engines Go wheels, just with spokes instead of flat discs for printing. So that's kind of interesting. His front buffers are painted, but his back buffers are not. His running board looks great, by the way, perfectly shaped. He does have a lamp, which is cool. Front coupling, and he has his back coupling. Really, really nice detail up here. He's got the dome, he's got his stripes, he's got separately applied whistles. That's nice. So it looks like we're getting some of that All Engines Go detailing carrying over into this. A really good looking cab. It's not squashed at all. Really, really nicely shaped. I like the one. I think it looks pretty good. Unpainted lamp. On the back, no back striping, but very few of the Thomases do the back stripe, so it doesn't really matter. But there's no painted lamp and no painted buffers, and that's interesting because we'll see that on Diesel in a minute. And then the coupling rods, which I think look really good. I actually really like the look of these coupling rods, and I think that it doesn't actually make him look that bad. I think it doesn't make him look even that wide. And I'm using some Trackmaster 1 track here, but he does run on both. But if he runs on this track and also on the current motorized slash Trackmaster 2 slash whatever you want to call it track. So he does run. He runs really nicely. Yeah. Let's see on the bottom. His base is kind of like a, it's like a weird gray actually. It's not pure black. Weirdly enough, he's got Thomas right there. He's held in with a screw and, interestingly enough, a bolt. So they're going back to the bolts. If you don't know, on All Engines Go, they were using a lot more screws, which made it a lot easier to customize them. I guess they don't want you to easily customize these things. But no, I think this is a fantastic looking Thomas. I see the hype around these guys, and I cannot wait to get the other characters like Percy and James, and even Henry, who I know doesn't look the best, but I still think is probably better than his older diecast models. So yeah, I really like this Thomas. So now let's look at Devious Diesel, who doesn't really look so devious with that face. So this, if you guys don't know, the most recent kind of holdover, they're kind of doing a holdover metal collection until we get the new 2026 models, which if you haven't seen the pictures of them, go look at them. I might do my own thoughts on video. But they decided to take older push-along models from 2019 and give them new wheels and basically use those. I think some of the faces might have been updated as well, but I could be wrong about that. But they're basically just reusing these old toolings. I think people were worried that that's what they were going to do when they first saw Annie and Clarabelle, and I think everybody thought that they were only going to do that with Annie and Clarabelle, and then turns out we were wrong. But yeah, and so let's look at Diesel, I guess. If you've seen a push-along 2019 Diesel, this is Diesel. Only difference is he has the new wheels, which, if I pull up the Troublesome Truck here, these are what the old ones looked like. These are what the new ones looked like. These were basically just a slightly larger version of the Take and Play wheels. These ones are the new All Engines Go style wheels, but with spokes. But he actually has nice detail. Because it's Diesel, a lot of his detail is pretty close to his body, and because he's all black, you kind of need that molded detail to kind of make him look like Diesel, and so I think he looks really good. He has a lot of ladder detail. He even has molded in side rods, which I kind of wish they had painted silver. I think even just that little bit of paint might have made the model look a bit better and might have made it look a bit more like it's supposed to be a part of this line. Or even just given him a pair of those wheels. But, yeah, so he has side rod molding on the side. He has really nice molded detail along his body. He has his doors and his cab windows. He's got all these vents along his side. That looks like his builder's plate, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. He's got this upper detail here, these kind of roof things. He's got his letters around the side of his face, this little bump here at the top. He's even got back windows, which is nice. And again, there we got the back buffer printing, even though we don't have it on Thomas. So I don't know why they did this. I don't know if maybe they thought because Diesel's model is just completely black, because he doesn't have a red running board, they wanted to give him that extra splash of color. But it's fascinating that they do it for some engines and not others. He obviously has front buffer detailing in his coupler. His face, which, again, it's Mattel. Their faces basically all the time look great. Yeah, and he actually doesn't look bad. After looking at this model, Diesel actually doesn't look too bad. And even compared to Thomas, I think he was... If they were ever going to reuse an engine, not saying that they should, but if they were ever going to reuse one, I think Diesel was the best choice, because his model actually is pretty well proportioned to his counterpart from the TV show and looks pretty good beside Thomas. I think the only thing that would really benefit his model were the better buffers, because his are kind of just like imprinted. They're just kind of slightly raised nubs. I think if he had better buffers like Thomas here, and the coupling rods. I think those coupling rods, maybe the cutout cab instead of this solid cab, but maybe the cutout cab, the coupling rods, and the buffers. Just that would have made this model, I think, on par with the rest of the range. I think Diesel looks pretty good on his own, actually, and maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I think he does look decent. He does have good detail. It looks like Diesel, and he even has some decent weight to him. He's definitely lighter than Thomas, but not by much. Yeah, it helps that Diesel is a pretty basic character with a pretty simple design, but yeah, it's interesting to see a older Thomas model now be reissued as something new. So interesting. So now I want to do some comparisons just to kind of show off other versions of these characters. So first I want to go with Thomas and show off this new Push Along Thomas compared to the 2019 Push Along Thomas and the All Engines Go Thomas. So let's start with All Engines Go, as that's the one from most recent memory. Obviously, these do not look anything alike because they are very, very different Thomases. I think the only thing that's similar about them is their shade of blue is almost identical. But the main thing I want to talk about is the level of detail, because we saw this with All Engines Go, with the level of detail really improving, the larger scale, everything like that. And you can see they carried over that design aesthetic into these new models. The wheels, again, look basically the same. Here, I'm curious about the length. Is this Thomas bigger? This Thomas is ever so slightly bigger. But like you've got the new wheels, like you have on here. You have these separately applied whistles, which is something that I don't know if the diecast range has ever seen. You've got better buffer detailing like they did on All Engines Go. You have more separately, more molded detailing like the lamps. And so I think a lot of this level of detailing we do have to thank All Engines Go for, because this started it and this is getting it now. Even like the separately applied coal, like this is a separate plastic piece, the larger cab with the windows. So I just wanted to bring that out here and show that this is what led to this in a way. If we didn't have this, I don't think we would have gotten this. I think we just would have gotten an updated version of that, as we'll see. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that out there quickly. So here we have 2019 Thomas versus 2025 Thomas, and oh my god, the difference is actually crazy. This is such a better Thomas, it's not even funny. The proportions are just so much better. I even actually kind of prefer the new wheels, not gonna lie. I never liked the sort of sunken in design. I kind of like these, which almost give me wooden railway vibes with the wheels. Yeah, I mean, the faces are both really good. I do like the push-along faces. They're really nice faces, but just the tiny nubs for the whistles, the basically non-existent dome, the cab, which is completely squashed down. Even the running board, which they did update on the push-along Thomases to look slightly more accurate, has nothing on this new one. It's just, it's not as good. Even size-wise, you can see the new Thomas is so much taller, and it benefits it so much. Like, the faces aren't even really different heights. It's just that cab height just makes all that difference. And then the side rods just add that nice little extra detail. So, especially because they're not, I think they use basically the same size chassis. Yeah, they do. They basically use the same size chassis. So theoretically, you could take these coupling rods and put them on this old Thomas. But it's just nice to see this new Thomas and see the improvements they made compared to this old one. I mean, even just putting these two across from each other like that, I think you can see all the differences. Like I said, with the the little, here, I'll use the screwdriver, the little nub buffers versus the 3D ones, the nub whistles versus the 3D ones, the better molded dome versus the one here, the bigger cab, even the better colo. This is just in the metal mold, which is fine, like it's not bad, but this one looks so much better. It's insane. Even the printing on this new one, I think, looks better and higher quality than the old one. So yeah, I do think that that's interesting. So yeah, just wanted to do that. So now let's look at Diesel. I do not have the old push long Diesel, and I think it's kind of futile because the only difference would be most likely the wheels, but I do want to compare him to All Engines Go Diesel and show you the kind of detail difference, because again, we have that extreme height difference between the two. And I think that's what this Diesel was lacking, or maybe just some slightly better detail, some slightly better relief ladders, some maybe better detailing along the side, maybe some separately fitted pieces would have been nice. Again, better buffers, which for some reason this Diesel doesn't have, but yeah, I think just those few things could have made this Diesel look better. I really do think some better buffers, some coupling rods, or even just painting the molded ones on the side, and maybe even just taking out the cab windows, I think would have made this Diesel look on par, or at least up to the level of this new Thomas and this new Thomas line. Great, so the last thing I want to do is this is something curious for me as somebody who used to collect the 2019 line and has seen that they're trying to reissue some of them, because I really want this troublesome truck. I only have one, and I would love more of them, and I'm curious to see the height difference, because this thing always felt out of place in the old line. It felt really wide and really big. I'm curious to see the size with this new Thomas. So let's go ahead and look. So it still looks really weird proportionate-wise. Like, it still looks really tall and wide compared to the old, or compared to the new Thomas. But I will say it does look better because Thomas is taller, so it does make him look a bit better. And the troublesome truck doesn't feel as wide because of the wider Thomas. So I think this is fine. I do think, though, that this troublesome truck is just way too wide. I wish it was just slightly thinner. But yeah, either way, guys, I think that is the end of my review on the new, well, I guess not so new anymore, but the 2025 and 2026 Metal Collection Thomas and Diesel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I thank you guys so much for watching. I might do some reviews of a lot of the older 2025 items before the new ones all hit the shelves. Hopefully, we'll see. And when those new ones come out, I might get a few of them to see. We'll see. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.